So I like to see that as the early lock-in. And now as we move over to the side of BLG, could look towards the solo laners, maybe getting something nice for Shinmo.
I mean, that Ornn is not what I'd expect to see them pick up. They pretty much disregarded in past series. Is going to be locked in though, so still potential there for it to be flexed about a little bit, go towards Fofo, go towards King, and possibly even, as you say, Shinmo in the bottom lane. But this is not the draft I expected from BLG.
Are they just going to play around like Jugger Olaf, something like that? Just set Meteor up to charge through this game. The Karma, definitely an interesting one. The supportive mid laner. Maybe we could just see it as an actual support.
It could be. Could also, as you said, kind of maybe up towards a more heavy focus on shields and heals. I was curious, well, with the Nautilus locked in, you're not going to go for something like Yuumi. But again, I thought they'd try and lock in an AD carry for Xin Zhao here. He's in a bit of trouble here. Ban away the Ezreal, ban away the Varus, and you're looking towards a bit of an unknown situation for him. But with the Yuumi banned away, will at least be one of those picks still up and available.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm not surprised by the Yuumi ban at all. Against Yuumi Olaf, there are very few things that can survive the onslaught.
I'd agree, but with the Nautilus locked in, you're kind of like, okay, cool, we can deal with this. It's not going to be too much of an issue, unless they are just so usually see Yuumi paired with Ezreal, or something that can be safe. You ban away the Ezreal here, again, you're pincing Xin Zhao's champion pool. Probably not going to see the Yuumi come in as a result, so it's like a 2-for-1 ban. So OMG, though, are super scared of this Yuumi coming in regardless, and just decide to get it away.
Yeah, going to get rid of the Varus as well. Very safe AD carry, removing that from Xin Zhao's options. And Icon's had his signature Zoe removed. He's had his LeBlanc taken off the board as well. And it feels like BLG, they're really worrying about Icon. The way that they're drafting is all about the enemy mid laner.
I'm also looking at what could be the potential pickup for BLG's bot lane. I'm looking at possibly Xayah Rakan still being open. So that could be something that they tend towards. Rakan still very strong in the current meta. And it means you've still got that quote-unquote like shields and heals and stuff for the Olaf plus and a dive buddy in the engage tool. We are going to see the takeaway of the Aatrox though. We're already assuming that Kingan's going with the Ornn. But again, just take it away. Have a nice matchup in the top lane.
Yeah, the Aatrox certainly going to be just one of those staple top laners. Can do a lot of work. We'll see what they're going to lock in. You'll be a prophet if it is the Xayah Rakan. It's a while since I've seen that, but Ezreal is going to be the lock. And now it's time to find out whether this Karma's going mid, whether it's going support, or where on earth it's going.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm assuming it's going to be a mid laner here. It's something that we saw come out from Yagel and JDG. Have a good amount of push pressure, influence off to the side lanes, and as we already talked about, that's how BLG like to play. They've started to tend a lot more towards Fofo and Kingin on the top side. But with that Ezreal locked in, I think that's going to only reinforce that.
Well, the Leona will be there, and quite often we see the Nautilus versus Leona in the bottom lane. We saw it in the last series as well. We're going to see it here again today. Very safe for the side of BLG. Obviously, Xin Zhao going to be super safe on the Ezreal, and he can be one of those hyper carries towards the later stages that Fofo is going to be looking to support.
And it makes it so difficult for this bot lane to lock them down. Nautilus Misfortune wants you to stay right here. Go nowhere else, so then I can put a bullet time over you and knock you down. Whereas with Ezreal, you've got that arcane shift to move away. Your engage isn't as strong either because Leona can tank up quite a bit of that burst. So overall, BLG have gone, cool, bot lane, you're safe. Let's try and split the map here. Have Meteor on the top side, and we can try and win out in our mid to top.
All right, at the very start of the draft, I mentioned it when the LeBlanc ban came through. Icon Syndra is one of his kind of signature picks from olden times, and it's incredibly strong in the current meta. You hit 6, you hit R, and somebody dies.
Hard. Yeah, you hit very hard at that level 6. So if they can start to move towards that, utilize the advantage Syndra has, well then that's fantastic. They do have a very hard spiking mid-game comp.
Yeah.
With the Syndra, with this Misfortune, they can delete multiple members. If you've got a couple of orbs there for a Scatter of the Week, sets up nicely. So mid-game fighting is what we're going to see coming out of the squad.
Yeah, and I mean, you say that mid-game fighting, the Lee Sin and the Aatrox just bolster that even further over towards the top side. Incredibly strong 2v2 in the top lane, but also we quite often see these Aatroxes getting involved in the Herald fights, getting involved in the Dragon fights, and I'm hoping that we see that out of BLG because it's something that, out of OMG, because that's when they'll be able to find that snowball we were talking about.
The big thing for me, looking at the BLG comp on the opposite side to try and prevent that snowball, is to have Fofo pushing in the mid lane. If they can try and get Fofo out to help out in some of these side lanes, utilize that TP advantage, that could be the game changer here. But it's a weird comp, because you end up with this big shield coming through, you hit like a truck in the mid game as well, but you start to teeter off in the later stages, so it's a bit of a hard one to say who wins. Both teams kind of scale in the same manner.
Well, the Ornn will certainly help with the scaling for BLG, and Ezreal does pretty well, but honestly, one of the guys that you're just going to have to keep your eyes on no matter what here is going to be Meteor on the Olaf. Every time we see Olaf locked in here in the LPL, it's a win. It's kind of a feast or famine pick, right? Either you run away with things or you just can't get the lead, and if you don't find that lead, quite often, you just charge in and die.
Especially against the composition OMG has. You're running through a bullet time, you're running through a Syndra burst damage. Even into the hands of an Aatrox, this is not where you'd exactly see Olaf shining. We'll have to test if Fofo is enough to keep him safe.
It's going to be a test, certainly, for both of these junglers. That was the head-to-head we mentioned earlier on when we first started this conversation. And I want to bring you back to the fact that Meteor focuses on that first tower. 80% of games, he's there to help get that first tower. Hacker, much more about the kills, much more about tempo.
Meteor, though, as we said, is going to split the map on this top side. Start looking at his blue there. We'll clear that out. We'll try to go across for the red, but it looks like Hacker's read this really well, and he started on his own red side with the fake coming through from SMLZ and Cold to make them think, okay, maybe we have got this Nautilus helping at the blue buff.
And we do have Curse actually leashing as well for Hacker. Quite often, when we see junglers starting on a side that you wouldn't expect, they do it alone so that that information is hidden away, but Curse will be revealing that by leashing for his jungler.
So, no real early game lead for Meteor. This is already starting to look like OMG have realized... Sorry, excuse me, I don't know where that came from. OMG need to play against. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Hacker can make a play here. And with Jin Jiao and Jinmo attacking that bottom lane first, it's pushing in and gives a good opportunity for Code and SMLZ to work with Hacker at level 2.
These mid laners just going to be trading back and forth and just farming it out as much as they can. Electrocute procced, but realistically against a Karma, you're really going to struggle to find any kill pressure.
So many shields, not really going to be doing too much. But it is a lane that essentially neutralizes itself. It's why we've seen Icon not go for something like an Ignite. You don't have that kill pressure. It's more about staying safe from the ganks and have a little bit of speed up to avoid the Olaf.
Now we see Shinmo heading back towards his bottom side. And I want to talk about where these two teams are in the standings as of right now, before this game gets any kind of result underway. Right now, they're both at 2-2 when it comes to the standings. OMG are your exactly middle of the table team. They are at 5-5 win-loss record. And we do have a hook. I don't think they're going to go for that one, but BLG on the other side, they've got the same score record, not the same game record.
And the funny thing about OMG is they've actually equaled the total wins they got last split. They were 2-13 at the end of Summer Split. Now they've equaled that, so maybe they can push over the line and make it to that crucial number 3.
I really hope it's a better season for them then, because otherwise it's going to be an 11-loss streak ahead of them. It doesn't feel like that will be the case. It definitely feels like OMG is a team that has some significant strengths. They definitely have ways to win out games. The question will be, can they beat the top team?
And a lot of that comes from Hacker and SMLZ. SMLZ coming back to the team after his hiatus. Hacker providing a lot of stability that they haven't seen on OMG prior to this. And suddenly, they're picking up games. They're not looking like they're just the pushovers that they were last year. This game, though, I want to see them be more proactive. And right now, with both BLG and OMG having this truce, nobody really wants to attempt to break anything here. Well, it's a bit disappointing.
Well, I mean, you mentioned proactivity, and you already brought up Hacker. He's very much been the most proactive member for the side of OMG. He's on the Lee Sin, and he's gone for his first recall, so you could expect some kind of action, but it's Curse that's going to be receiving a bit of proactivity in the top lane. He flashes very early on. That's going to mean Kingen, despite being on a tank, already starts the snowball rolling.
This is the problem. Hacker was on that top side, but didn't help Curse crash that wave. Meteor spots out that this Aatrox is going to be overextended, and a brilliant setup from Kingen to provide first blood.
Very nicely done from the side of BLG, and we mentioned it before, the Olaf pick. If it can get the ball rolling early, it can be incredibly difficult to shut down, especially when you've got Fofo in the mid lane on this Karma. You can already see he's going to be building that support build.
That's the way you always go with Karma. You're here to help, not to kill. That's always how this lane works. With that play on the top side, though, Hacker moves down towards the Dragon. Will have SMLZ and Cole pushing in, so it's free to take this objective. And now we're starting to set up and go, okay, no objective on the bottom side. Everyone's looking at this Rift Herald. How do we start to influence these lanes to make sure we're the one with the tempo advantage to get our laners there first?
Meteor going to check the Dragon, but he's going to be just a second too late. And Hacker able to find that one for his team. So we've had each jungler achieving one thing so far. For BLG, it was a kill in the top lane. For OMG, it's the first Drake of the game.
Well, we know now the Hacker's a PvE player. Doesn't want to go into that PvP. He's fine with just farming a bit. Yeah,
he's more than happy to just go battle against the jungle. But Meteor nearly checked in time. We could have had a little PvP there, but Meteor
realized he's on the wrong server, you know. Just swapped over real quick.
More of a comment at the moment, but we'll see if that's going to change over the course of this game. But all things considered, a relatively slow start. Shinmo, though, going to be looking for something. Cold kind of denies his attempt there as SMLZ getting poked out by Jin Zhao. But this is what we've seen at a lot of the bottom lanes here in the LPL, is just sparring constantly.
It's because it's so difficult to try and take down some of these tanky members. The only way that this lane really ends up in a kill is if Cold mistakenly goes into engage and ends up losing out, because at the end of the day, Leon is just a tankier version of him. We said at the beginning of last split, or last series even, that if you try and go for this, you're going to lose out. So Cold just doesn't engage and then nothing happens. They get a little bit of poking back and forth, but it's more about, cool, we're getting the shove in, and now we're starting to see BLG's map plays. Ezreal making his way down to the bot lane. Shinmo sticking here to freeze the wave in a nice spot for him. Now this Leon is going to back and move up towards that top side. This is what we're talking about, that crucial 8-minute mark. Already the pieces are starting to put into play for BLG to move here.
You mentioned right at the start, Shinmo needs to be one of the driving forces when it comes to these kind of plays. You can see Cold actually going to be mirroring as well, although it looks like he is actually going to air towards the bottom side of the map in the end. Herald spawning in just under 30 seconds now.
Once the support icon and getting that deep ward, so they can spot where Meteor is. Know he's on the top side of the map now, so they're a little bit careful about where they're positioning here. Big thing here, Icon has no mana though. So at the moment, OMG are looking to dissuade BLG from taking this objective rather than actually fighting for it up front.
Well, BLG so far this season, it's been a story of inconsistency. They've had some incredible wins. They managed to beat Vici Gaming. They managed to beat RNG 2-1. But since then, while they beat RNG and everyone was like, oh wow, maybe this is a top team, since then they lost to LNG and they lost to Suning. It was 1-2 to LNG and 0-2 to Suning. And suddenly I have to bring into question, what are the differences between these series? How can you beat a great team like RNG and then lose so handedly to Suning?
It felt like so much of it came down to the draft. When you look at Kinging on this Maokai, didn't have the impact that you wanted. Rogue Warriors at the, LNG even at the last second, putting a Swapperoo in game 3, putting the Poppy into the jungle, and Malphite coming out for Flandre in the top lane. Catching BLG unaware in draft is where a lot of these teams seem to find their advantages, and I'd even say to a certain extent OMG here have caught them out as well, not only in the draft because they realize, hey look, Hacker isn't going to go, or sorry, not Hacker, Meteor won't go for this piece in, but now we're getting the team fight.
We're going to see a knock-up. Oh my days, the follow-up! You get knocked up for 1 second, Icon, and you are deleted.
This is the problem we see from OMG though, where they go for these good plays, but one member's caught out in the wrong spot. This is Icon now getting the caught out for OMG, and even though they get the Rift Herald, that's another kill going over to BLG.
And I love the decisiveness of that call. They know that, you know, even though they don't even get the Herald for themselves, they make a play off the back of it. They manage to find a kill onto Icon, and they open up that mid lane just a little bit.
So let's see where this Rift Herald's going to go. It is on this Aatrox in the top side of the map. I think that was a little bit of a panic. Just grab it before everyone comes over. But could potentially use in the top side. I'd love to see Curse instead with the teleport that's coming up. See if they can go down to the bottom side and make a play here to start to get SMLZ with a bit of gold under its belt.
Yeah, I'd love to see SMLZ getting something going because, you know, the Misfortune, one of the picks that really strong in the mid-game, but will start to fall behind, especially the likes of an Ezreal the longer the game goes on. So definitely would love to see a bit more focus around that.
Especially when we're trying to get SMLZ set up to be the Meteor Killer, to try and take down Jinjiao and Fofo. We want as much damage as possible onto this Misfortune because she's going to be, to a certain extent, the consistent damage for this team.
Well, Drake is going to be spawning in about 10 seconds time, and you can see both teams. They're very aware of this situation, trying to set up vision, trying to contest for this one. Cold's been spotted out on his Nautilus. Means he's going to have to back away from this one. Shinmo here to clear the vision. And BLG just confidently bully out OMG.
Well, they see SMLZ in the bot side. They know that this Misfortune can't take the fight, so cool, we're going to bully you back out and we're going to pick up this dragon. Does mean, though, Curse drops the Rift Herald on the top side and we'll be able to pick up a couple of plates for himself.
Maybe even 3 at this rate, so nicely done by Curse. At least they get something out of this Herald. Obviously, not optimal use. You really want to get the last couple of plates if possible, but it's better than nothing. 3 plates out of a Herald, you take that.
Exactly, especially when they're just trying to keep this gold lead as close as possible. You can see it's about 1,000 gold for BLG at the moment, just from those early plays and the early kills that they've picked up. But now, OMG, trying to see if they can catch out this Ezreal.
I want to find a pick. I don't think it's going to happen for them. And, I mean, the thing is, even if you manage to get the hook onto Jinjiao, he's going to be able to arcane shift away. You can buffer it during the animation, so you can just kind of get away with those situations.
Look, I just want some excitement this game, okay? Look, it's a BLG game. Let me dream that one day we'll actually have a fight. Well, maybe actually Meteor is hovering around on this top side.
Curse does have his flash available, and he's died to this once before, so we'll see how much he'll respect it. Goes for the wave clear.
Hacker is on the top side, though. Could try and match this. Hopefully he doesn't leave Curse out high and dry again like this last play.
Meteor's right next to him. There's a knock-up, and Curse, even if he flashes, will be taken down. An undertow to finish the job.
And just in case they missed it, there's the True Shot Barrage to finish off any sort of hope Curse was going to escape from that play. Now they should be able to answer for some of these turret plates. Only Hacker up here. I don't know if you really want to go under this turret.
Go on, mate. Do the 1v2. I want to see it, Hacker. I don't know, though. Look at the level difference. Hacker's level 7. Meteor's level 9 right now. That is a huge jungle diff, and he's going in for it. Kingen forced away because he knows that Icon's just around the corner. Hacker's there. Flash having to be used by Kingen. Hacker can't quite close the gap. The teleport used by Curse as well, but they're not going to be able to close the gap.
Shinmo started to roam, though, alongside Fofo. See if they can protect this top lane turret. Maybe with 4 members they can do it.
Yeah, I don't know. This one doesn't feel like the play for OMG anymore. Feels like the rest of the team from BLG are going to be here. You have to respect that and decide to back away. In the meantime, both AD carries, they're just going to be chilling.
Yeah, everyone's kind of chilling at the moment. They realize, look, we're not going to be able to do too much. OMG, still the blue. Fine to give that across at the moment. Fofo's not really struggling for mana anytime soon. And I think, again, we're going to see this lethargic play till the Rift Herald comes in, or even the likes of that Ocean Drake in about 2.5 minutes. So, Joe, I'm going to ask you, how's your day?
Yeah, it's been all right so far, to be honest. Got up, had breakfast, had a pot of instant noodles for breakfast.
That is your breakfast, as far as it seems the last
That's
week.
my every meal, unless I'm in the studio. But yeah, it's been about as slow of a day as this game has been slow so far, you know? It's easy going here at the LPL.
Well, look, we saw after better already. This does feed into BLG favor. OMG in these slow games don't tend to fare too well. But we already saw with Icon getting caught out, finding themselves in awkward, precarious situations. So BLG pretty happy to go with this stall. We talked about them already. Controlling is all hell, but they're trying to make a play here.
They're looking for Icon. He's flashed very early, though, and that's going to punish him with his own life going down. Meteor barely survives the unleashed power, but barely is good enough.
Yeah, this is not ideal at all for OMG. This is what we're talking about, where we can just find them getting caught out at all points in time. BLG will return to their side lanes, though, as they're pretty happy with the goal that they picked up so far.
King going to be returning to this top side. And as you say, we kind of go back to this neutral state in the game, and it's kind of surprising to see OMG being happy to play this slow. They're currently down in gold, but they're the ones with the mid-game composition. They're the ones that realistically need to be accelerating things.
And why do you pick Lee Sin if you're not going to go for that play? You are a proactive jungler. Otherwise, just pick Sejuani or something. Provide a bit more team fight style.
Well, maybe we're finally going to see it. Hackers moved down to the bottom side of the map. And that's it. He's not going to do anything with that. Obviously, they did get spotted out on a ward, so they do have to back away in the end.
Maybe he's just trying to update his travel journal, you know. Dear Diary, today I visited the bot lane. It was nice and sunny, as always, on Summoner's Rift. But the play is coming in from OMG. 3 members from BLG should be able to support this thing.
Meteor is a lot bigger than Hacker is right now. The Icon's here to support his team. Fofo on the horizon. This could turn into a full-on brawl right now. Shinmo goes in. Solar Flare still available, but Icon already dropped. Cold will be next as he uses that stopwatch. Good stun onto the backline, a knock-up to follow, and it's all going the way of BLG. We asked for consistency, and this is a masterclass.
BLG will chase OMG back. Kingen is not done yet, though.
Uh-oh, SMLC. I think he should be able to get away with this one. There's a nice flash. Dodge away from the knockup. Kingen can't quite finish that one off. Yeah.
We'll get this bot lane turret. They can also get these nice back timings to go for the Rift Herald as well. I was wondering if we'd see OMG just beeline it straight for that objective, but they are teetering down towards the bottom side instead.
I mean, as a play-by-play, this is not the kind of game I like to watch, but when we were coming into this series, what we were asking of BLG was a consistent performance. We wanted them to be able to beat OMG. As when you look at the results, being able to beat RNG means at their peak, they are the favorites in this series. And that seems like the version of BLG we're seeing here today.
Again, you're just going to watch the replay. Icon getting caught out. You kind of think, okay, maybe take the cleanse for the Syndra, but realistically, when you've got the Karma and the Olaf in the mid, you're not going to utilize that cleanse very often. So it's an easy target for Shinmo in so many of these fights.
Shinmo having a whale of a time, and the Solar Flare stopping SMLZ's bullet time on top of it. In the meantime, though, we finally have a pick going the way of OMG. Nice little find onto Shinmo, overextending for the vision.
Now they can actually move towards this Rift Herald. They realize Meteor's in the mid lane, but this should be a 4v5. Curse is already moving that way because of how long that lane is in the bottom side for Kingen to push in.
Now OMG, they're the ones finally with a bit of an advantage. They can take an objective for themselves. Obviously, they got the first Herald as well. It was a little bit of a dicey situation, but they did manage to get it. This will be the second one in their pocket. Bear in mind, BLG only with 1 tower on the board. This Herald might just even that up.
I don't even think they need to use the Herald to get the first tower. Top one is so low. You've got the wave pushing in. 3 members here with no one from BLG. This will be a quick pickup for OMG, and then you can look to crucially crack that inner tower. Oh, sorry, mid lane tower.
It might even be more than just a tower pickup here. Fofo has found himself alone. Icon wasn't the only man there, and the rest of the team comes in to guarantee the kill on the Syndra.
Meteor is here, though, trying to potentially chase down Icon and Hacker.
This would be 2v3, though. I don't know how... I mean, Meteor's pretty fed. He's got the Black Cleaver, but I don't know if he's 2v3 fed.
With this back timing, though, could look to put pressure on mid lane if you're BLG. Do have the misfortune here. More than likely, we just use the bullet time to clear out the wave, though.
Yeah, can't deny that pressure with the ultimate coming out from the misfortune. But again, I want to return to what we started off the day with here. It's Meteor versus Hacker, the jungle match.
Oh, I thought we were going back to your breakfast.
Well, I mean, the pot noodle was pretty fantastic. Well, it wasn't pot noodle. They don't do them here, actually. No. So, unfortunate. But what I did want to talk about was Meteor and Hacker. Because we came in saying that this was going to be about Meteor and whether or not he could focus on the objectives. That's not actually been his focus this game. He wasn't even a part of the first tower that was taken. He's been much more about getting the kills.
It has worked out for them, though, because realistically, Meteor has by default helped out in taking those turrets because he's got Kingen ahead. Kingen has been so crucial in positioning himself correctly to take these towers and help out the rest of BLG. Pings are going down like crazy, though, around this mid lane. They are desperately wanting to make a play here.
I want to make something happen, and everybody's going to be grouping up for it. BLG, the ones on the play. With the demolished procs, they're going to be able to get this mid lane turret down. That's 3 now in favor of BLG to the 1 of OMG. They're ahead in kills, they're ahead in dragons, and they're ahead in towers.
This is the way BLG plays. they slowly strangle you out, make sure that you have lost vision control in different parts of the map, you can't spot them moving, and with just a second's notice will jump on an objective. Catch the mid lane turret, they did the same on the top and the bottom lane turrets. Now it makes it a lot more difficult for OMG to find the opportunity to use their own Rift Herald.
Yeah, and just to add insult to injury there, it's only going to get harder and harder as Ornn, now at that level 13 mark, he's going to start to create these items for his teammates. And when you get Jin Zhao upgrading his Triforce, and when you get other big upgrades like Meteor managing to upgrade his Black Cleaver, for example, those are going to be huge spikes for the side of BLG.
It'd be interesting to see how BLG with a style like this does on an international level. I feel like you've got a very strong top laner in Kingen. I mean, you've already seen the likes of Jin Zhao on the world stage. He went with IMA back in 2016. Fofo as well has been to the world stage with the Flash Wolves as well. So this is a team that could potentially look towards the bigger stardom. But as you said, Munchables, it starts with that consistency. And now we're seeing the BLG that we know with that consistent, slow playstyle.
Certainly a team that has experience. They don't have that many wins under their belt when it comes to the international play. That's one of the key things. Is Herald actually going to be dropped in the mid lane? They see everyone over towards the bot side, and OMG say, okay, it's time to make a move. They look towards this mid tier 1, and Hacker, he's really committed for this one. He's nowhere near his team that are being decimated as I speak. There goes Icon. SMLZ can't do anything about it as he watches Cold get collapsed on and taken out as well. That's 2 kills for BLG. They're going to look for Hacker as well. Goes for the ward jump. He's going to be able to Spider-Man his way out.
Such a risky play from OMG. Look at where the blue wards are placed on this map right now. It's all down in that bottom side. They've crucially moved them up to try and keep control of this Baron. But OMG couldn't spot out that engage from BLG. Speed up comes through from Fofo. Hacker!
Hacker's in trouble. He's so low, and the True Shot Barrage just about clips in and finishes him off. SMLZ the next on the chopping block as Curse doing what he can, but Jin Zhao wants the 1v1. It's a killer piece for them as the autos trade. Now Shinmo finds himself alone. Curse gets 1. Suddenly, despite the Baron going down, OMG at least get a couple of kills, but Curse, he can't win out this fight. Fofo's being pulled on back, but Meteor happy to 1v1. Cold dodges the route and has to back away.
Big mistakes from OMG, giving over the Baron off of one foul play. And now we're going to see BLG start to take these outer turrets. This is the slow game plan. This is how they work. You get that outer ring down. Right, now you're into the nice, juicy, meaty portion. But you can see here, vision is all on the bottom side for BLG. OMG can't spot this out. Don't respect how quickly BLG can engage with Fofo and the ultimate E to speed everyone up with the shield. And they're collapsed on way too quickly to deal with.
And I mean, it has to be said, a little bit overzealous from the AD carry Jin Zhao there on BLG. He went for the 1v1 with SMLZ. It did feel a little bit like he was just mashing all 4 buttons to try and get the kill. But he, you know, traded the kill in the end. It was a big shutdown over towards SMLZ, so maybe that could be a silver lining for OMG. But realistically, with 3 Drakes now in the hands of BLG, with the Baron as well, this is feeling like a slow but sure chokeout from BLG.
Especially when you look at the gold difference. 4,000 gold in favor of BLG. They're items ahead of their opponents in so many situations. And looking at Curse as well, you've got already the Executioner's Calling completed onto the Ezreal. You're going to start seeing the likes of Morello's coming through for Curse. You've got so much Bramble Vest even for Kingen at some stage. This is going to make it so difficult for them to actually find these fights.
They want to fight underneath the tower right here. Icon down to half already as Cold tried to find a way in. They're just going to use these ultimates to zone everybody away. They want the inhibitor right now. Cold can't find the hook. Just hits the inhib instead. Shinmo goes in, and they're going to find the Nautilus to start things off. Inhib will go down. And BLG, they're happy with 1 kill. They're happy with an inhib. They're happy to not overextend.
And this is the thing. If I said to you, hey, there's 17 kills in a 24-minute game, you're like, that's relatively okay. That's not too bad. It's not that slow of a series. It's the way BLG do it, though. It's always this methodical play, how they start to move around the map, catch you out of position. And unfortunately, where I looked at maybe OMG having this early game snowball, potentially having the chance to make it happen, BLG just snuff it out at the very beginning.
We were talking about the mid-game strength for OMG. We didn't really see a mid-game, it feels like. We've just gone from the lane phase to the late game. Inhib's going to go down. OMG are desperately trying to do anything about it. They don't seem to be able to close the gap. Hacker goes in, kicks Jinzhao to safety, and now the rest of the squad arrives. Bullet time denied by the solar flare. Curse can't do anything as Cold is going to be rooted. Has to flash to safety. Curse gets a knock-up. Icon very low on HP, and this is just brutal from this side of BLG. The members of OMG drop one by one. It's a triple kill for Jin Zhao and an absolute clinic of a win from BLG.
A near 10k gold lead to finish this one off, and with the minions in the base, BLG pick up game 1.
And what a way to start it all off. I mean, BLG, you can't really fault him. You can't fault him on a win like that, because ultimately one of the big things we said about them was, yes, they're great at the early game, they're great at snowballing, but the later it goes on, the less their decision-making makes sense. They just don't allow it to go on. They just finish in 25 minutes and everything's out of the way, so fair play to him.
And a lot more focused on how they were working. It was oftentimes you kind of feel like they start to get the snowball going, they stall for ages because they're afraid to go deep, they don't want to go for a dive. But this time around, they were comfortable in picking off those plays. You saw it around the inhibitor in that top side. Look, if we've got the advantage, we're going to go for it, and BLG find the win.
Yeah, I mean, BLG looking fantastic. OMG on the other side of things, disappointed with how slow they were playing in the early game. It felt like maybe they had opportunities, especially with the Lee Sin, to force the issue. And look at the damage graph. Hacker is basically not a part of this game.
And that was it from the beginning. It felt with the Olaf lock-in, Hacker didn't really know how to respond, couldn't react fast enough when they saw Meteor on opposite side of the maps. And this is a big issue. If Hacker is being exposed here by Meteor,